Hello and welcome to my channel. This is the Samaya 2. Now Samaya, see, the way forwards in tent design is to use single wall technology so that you can reduce the weight and volume of the tent. And when I say volume of the tent, I kind of mean the pack size. Now as soon as I mention that, you're going to mention, right, moisture management, condensation. Well, tonight, that's the whole idea. There's a weather forecast in tonight, and from about 9 o'clock tonight until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, it's going to be raining. So I'm really going to test the waterproofing of this tent and how well the fabric breathes. When I say fabric breathing, Samaya have their own proprietary membrane in this tent, and they're claiming that it is twice the breathability of any other membrane that's used on tents. So that's quite a big claim, and tonight, yeah, we're going to test it. So before I go any further, this tent is modular, and that is you can remove the vestibule and either choose to bring that with you on a trip or not. And on my last video, a lot of you guys sort of said, look, can you show us how to actually attach the vestibule? So that's what I'm going to do now. Assemble the tent pole, then as I had laid the vestibule down, I had already kind of orientated it so that I knew which was the back and the front of it. So it's a matter then of just actually clipping the vestibule onto the top of the tent where the vent cover would normally be, and you leave the actual sort of roof pole still in place. And once you've sort of done all the clips, you then just actually move. I actually just moved to the very top two Velcro attachments on the pole. Following that, I just simply thread the pole sleeve, thread the pole through the pole sleeve. Once that's done, just pop it into the grommets. Then just attach the buckle and strap at the bottom. Pull the tension adjusters nice and tight. And then all you have to do is pull the vestibule at the front and then peg it out. So tonight, while I'm mainly out to sort of field test the moisture management in this tent, we'll also look at some other sort of considerations as well, and that's kind of like the internal volume. I know some of you have sort of asked me in the comments, you know, tent seems a little bit short. Well, I've got a pretty thick mattress here, which then challenges a little bit more, and a pillow as well. So we'll have a look at that later. But really just, you know, for managing gear and cooking, etc., you know, like there just is, like you're really spoiled in this vestibule. I mean, you really, really are. There is so much room here. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. And particularly, I think, you know, height-wise, you know, I'm 6'1", as I say, tons of height for me, you know, easily enough. Even if I was to move over in the vestibule, you know, there's still going to be enough height. And with the vestibule running the full length of the tent, you know, you have so much room, and two people could easily be managing sort of tasks in this tent at the same time, which is something that you can't do when the vestibule is kind of sort of end on. So really just lying down now to sort of give you a slightly different perspective on things, and you can just see, I mean, I have just so much room to work here and just so much actual space. So what I'm going to do tonight is there's a little bit of condensation now just actually on the fly sheet, or not on the fly sheet, on the vestibule, but if I just dry my hand off there, I can't feel any dampness at all on the fabric. But I'm going to sort of play a bit of devil's advocate tonight. I'm going to zip the door up, and I'm not going to vent the tent, you know, certainly for the first couple of hours anyway. I'm not going to vent it. And I'll set my alarm to maybe wake up about 2 o'clock in the morning and sort of take things from there. But, you know, I do want to give it a bit of a challenge. So it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I sort of thought I would sort of do a bit of a condensation check. So we're doing pretty well, I have to say. Now, I haven't vented this tent at all. Everything's completely closed, and I've had this door here. This has been done up and sealed. And the vestibule door is done up and sealed as well. So I mean, we're really giving the tent a challenge. Like I can see a couple of little droplets, but like there's no dampness in my hand or anything. Like there's nothing. So you know, to be fair to the tent, I'll show what I'll do, but I'll open and vent it just a little bit. Not much, but just a little bit. And then we'll see how it gets on in the morning. ventilate a little bit here, just in the front vestibule. So that's the two top vents open. So there's not really, I mean, there's no real airflow tonight. Good morning. So I hope you've maybe had a chance to have a look at my last video on this tent, which is called The Future of Tent Design. Now, the two big things that were coming out there comment-wise were the length of the tent and obviously the moisture and conversation, or condensation in the tent, or the potential for that. So look, last night I've obviously spent the full night in the tent, and I can honestly say, regarding the length of the tent, the way I would position myself, my hair is lightly touching, okay, the end of the tent. Not my head, but my hair, and it's lightly touching. I can honestly barely feel it. And exactly the same with my feet. In fact, if I look, I can kind of see it happening, but I can't actually feel it through the sleeping bag. Okay, so condensation. Wow, I mean, I really am impressed. Look, to be honest, I vented the tent a little bit, and like, there's nothing. I mean, there just isn't any. Now, there's plenty on the inside here of the fly sheet. I mean, I'll show you that in a moment. I mean, it's soaking. But I mean, inside here, nothing. The floor of the tent, completely dry. Underneath the mattress, 100% dry. I'll just reorganize the camera here slightly. So this whole storage area in the tent, which is a large pocket, anything that was in that pocket, completely dry, no moisture. Back wall, completely dry. I mean, absolutely nothing. Sleeping bag, and a tiny bit of dampness, but it hasn't come through the sleeping bag. I get that pretty much any night. So, from a condensation perspective, and as I said, all my clothes and everything that were down the side of the tent here, on the floor, totally dry, not even damp. So this tent has managed moisture really, really well. So I always like to sort of finish my videos with my final thoughts actually on the tent. And I would use this tent for lots of different occasions. I mean, obviously I would definitely use it in cold, dry environments. And in the summer I would probably use it without the vestibule. So that modular idea allows me to have a super strong, spacious tent at like 1,400 grams. So really, really good. And also, I was out obviously last night. I deliberately picked this location because there was going to be no wind. And I mean, you can see it's completely still, and a fair amount of rain last night. And again, tent has managed it, pretty well. And if it was windy, then you're going to get slightly greater ventilation. Now, I mean, obviously there's vents on the very top of the tent, and the vent cover is quite small, and you could potentially, I'm only saying potentially, get a little bit of wind blowing rain up and under there and then down through the vents. But that's only potential, and it wouldn't deter me at all, from using the tent. So if I had one of these tents, I could see me actually using it in a lot of different conditions, because it's just so, I could sit up. It's just so comfortable and spacious inside, particularly for one person. So honestly, I want one of these tents. I really do. There's no tent that's perfect in every type of condition. And for a lot of the conditions that I camp in, I can see this tent, working really, really well for me. So thank you very much for watching, and hopefully it won't be too long until we get another video out.
Hey boy, every time you look at me, I know you see my knees go weak.